What a beautiful way to be welcomed into the new year. Shana Tova, friends, welcome to the temporary TBT sanctuary, which is our library here at Temple. A story: a soldier returned from a war and went to a small village. On a wall at the edge of the village, he saw hundreds of circles with bullseyes, all shot perfectly accurately, dead center. Because he considered himself a superior marksman, he wondered who in this tiny little village could achieve such accuracy in target practice. So the soldier spent the day searching for the marksman, and he discovered that, lo and behold, it was a young boy. He took the boy to the edge of the village and showed him the wall covered with bullseyes, one after the other. "Did you do that?" he inquired. "Yes, I did," said the boy. "I don't understand how." "I am a superior marksman by far, and I cannot hit a target with 100% accuracy. How do you do it?" "Actually, it's pretty easy," announced the boy. "You see, first I shoot, and then I draw the circles around the arrows." Friends, it has been that sort of year. Sometimes we just have to aim first and then draw the circles later. Sometimes we fall short of our own expectations. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, we miss the mark anyhow. Sometimes a year and a pandemic, an 18-month pandemic so far, compel us to redefine the target we are aiming for, to redraw the circles. So many of us this evening are just trying to find our way forward. And that's okay. The important thing is that we are present on the eve of this new year, 5782, and we are in a very significant and real sense together tonight. I'm so honored to be here together with Cantor Boyle, their wonderful TBT choir, and with all of you joining us from your homes or wherever you are on Zoom. A few notes before our service begins. Special thanks to our board greeters. I think Sarah Mervine was greeting tonight, and we have a whole tech team that's working to make this all possible. When you come back to services tomorrow, you'll meet Don Goslin, who's going to be our Zoom captain, and he and the team will support you with any technological assistance should you need it. Please remain muted during the service. We'll have a chance to greet one another as you saw before and also afterwards. Also, when you come in, please make sure that your first and last names are correct on your Zoom profile so that we can let you in more quickly, because our team is very attentive to safety and security matters. Additional technology-related notes may appear from time to time in the chat, so feel free to keep an eye on that from time to time, or if you need any assistance. And finally, and this is most important, this service is not virtual. It is digital, but it is not virtual. It is very real. So I hope that you found a space in your home that you can set aside for this holiday experience. When we read together, please read with us. When we sing together, please sing with us. I know it might feel strange if you or perhaps your spouse or your kids are the only ones who can hear you, but doesn't that mean you can be even bolder when you sing? Please sing. This is very much a shared experience. We create this moment together, and we're glad to be here, all of us together. And now, as we begin the service with the lighting of the candles, I have to invite Walter and Esther Stutzman up. Walter, we're celebrating your 36th year as our accompanist here at TBT, and that is such a momentous milestone. We're very glad and lucky to have you here. We're on page 11, friends.
The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded. In everything you do, be a menorah, a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you.
Can I give you a hand? Let's see if the rabbis touch well.
Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner le'adlik ner shel yom tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechai chayanu v'kiyamanu v'chideyanu la'azman hazeh. Amen.
We continue on page 17.
הנני ואני ממעש, נרעשת ונבחרת מפחד, יושב תהילות ישראל. באתי לעמוד ולחתן לפניך Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Adonai,
Page 15. Praise God with the blast of the shofar. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, true voice of your people, Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truat amo Yisrael berachamim. Page 19. We can read this together in English at the bottom of the page. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5782. Eternal One, bless us in the house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. We continue on page 20. If it is comfortable to do so, please rise at this time. Page 23. Bless Adonai, who spins day into dusk. With wisdom, watch the dawn gates open. With understanding, let time and seasons come and go. With awe, perceive the stars in lawful orbit. Morning dawns, evening darkens, darkness and light yielding one to the other, yet each distinguished and unique. Marvel at life, strive to know its ways, seek wisdom and truth, the gateway to life's mysteries. Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight.
Adonai Tzebaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yamach Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Amari Baravim.
Amen. Page 26.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem.
Please be seated. Page 28.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levadnecha, v'dibartam bam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, u'vleftecha v'derech, u'shovbecha u'vkumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitacha u'visharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen.
We'll read together in English on page 32. Truth and faith, these are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, a giver of life, who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom, where we sang this song on page 34. As evening out gives way into night, we pray our homes will be places of safety and peace. We cry out, O God, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Spread your canopy of peace over us, over all we love, and over all of Jerusalem. Hashkivenu is on page 36. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo ve'al Yerushalayim. Soren Kierkegaard writes of prayer, to pray is not to hear oneself, but it is to be silent and to remain silent, to wait until the one who prays hears God. On some level, I do believe that every time we gather to pray or we offer a prayer on our own, we are looking to hear or feel something new in that prayer. But I also don't believe that God speaks to us directly, at least not in the same way that we might speak to one another. Still entering that confrontation, finding a moment of connection, and especially engaging in a few moments of silence can open our hearts in a unique way. Meditation is a hallowed tradition in Judaism. After the benedictions of the Amidah, I invite you to take a moment of stillness, even away from the screens here, to simply pause and listen. In your silence, you may hear something unexpected. We continue with the blessings of the Amidah on page 42. Please rise and join us if it's comfortable to do so.
Adonai Sept Tifta Uvia Gitehilata. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Ve'imotenu, להשיע. מחכה חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומק נופלים רבי חולים, ומתיר אסורים. בום קיים אמונתו, וישנה עפר. מעמו בור גבורות, ומתומך. מלך מלכים עולם חיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך, הרחמים, צופה יצורה, לחיים ברחמים. למען אתה והחיי הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Page 53. You chose us with love to be messengers of mitzvot, and through us you made known your aspirations. Among the many peoples, you gave us a pathway to holiness. Among all the great nations, you uplifted us, and you made yourself sovereign. And so we seek you, and we serve you, and we celebrate our nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name has become our calling. Baruch atah Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh. Page 54.
Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Ya'aleh v'yavo v'yagia, v'yira'eh v'yiratzeh v'yishama v'yipaked v'yizacher, Zikronenu v'iktonenu, Zikron Avotenu v'Imotenu, Zikron Yerushalayim Ha'Kodshecha, Zikron Kol Amcha Beit Yisrael, Lefanecha Lifleitat L'tova, V'cheinu Chesed u'Rachamim, V'chaim u'Shalom, B'yom HaZikaron hazeh. Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu b'letova.
Eternal our God, remember us. Amen.
Ufokteinu v'livracha.
Be mindful of us. Amen.
V'hoshienu v'lechayim.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Page 57. This is the prayer God utters from the Talmud. It says this: may my mercy conquer my anger, and all my actions toward my children, may my compassion prevail. And this is the prayer I say: Compassionate One, rule over me today and always. Let mercy and forgiveness hold sway. Let the good within me prevail. Baruch atah Adonai, melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael v'yom hazikaron. Our praise to you, Eternal One, whose power pervades all the earth. You bring holiness to the people Israel and to this day of remembrance. Please be seated. Page 60. Amen. Page 65. After a long illness, I was permitted for the first time to step outdoors. And as I crossed the threshold, sunlight greeted me. So long as I live, I shall never forget that moment. And everywhere in the firmament above me, in the great vault between earth and sky, on the pavements, in the buildings, the golden glow of the sunlight, it touched me too, with friendship, with warmth, with blessing. And I remembered how often I had been indifferent to the sunlight, how often preoccupied with petty and sometimes mean concerns, I had disregarded it. And I said to myself, how precious is this sunlight? But alas, how careless of it we are. Together, source of blessings, may we open our eyes to the radiance around us. May we open our hearts with gratitude and our souls with appreciation. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimecha ulecha na'eh lahodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. We open our hearts in gratitude now for a moment of silent meditation, silent appreciation. The words on the pages between 68 and 70 may be helpful to you during this meditative time. Every summer, as I take my High Holy Day machzor off the shelf for the first time in many months, I remember this story. A teacher was walking down the street one day, only to find his student rushing by with a distressed look on his face. "Where are you running to in such haste?" the teacher asked. "I'm getting ready for the Rosh Hashanah service. I need to look over my notes before the holidays begin," replied the teacher. "The service hasn't changed since last year, but perhaps you have. Go home and look over yourself instead." This is the essence of the season, my friends. Cheshbon hanefesh, a spiritual inventory, an accounting of the self. Where have we lived up to our ideals this year? And where have we fallen short? How much have we grown, and where do we still have some work to do? Each year we ask these same questions. Each year, perhaps the answers do not change quite as much as we would hope. But over time, we can change. Judaism insists on this. We err, we apologize, we reconcile, we pivot, we adjust. This is called teshuvah. The great sage Maimonides explains that teshuvah has taken place when we enter a similar situation that previously led us astray, but we are able this time to make a different choice. Do you remember that Joni Mitchell song? She sang that we're captive on a carousel of time. Remember that song, The Circle Game? Judaism says it's more like a spiral. Each time we begin the new year, we find ourselves in a slightly different place. Teshuvah literally means turning, that is, but not exactly returning to the same spot. Change, like life itself, happens in fits and starts, not in perfect circles. The seasons, they go round and round, like Joni sings. Days, months, years, these measurements never change, but we do. With apologies to Joni Mitchell, we are not captive on a carousel of time. With intent, we've moved away from our past selves towards something new. Otherwise, we stay stuck in a rut, much like those painted ponies going up and down in an infinite loop. Last year at Rosh Hashanah time, we all were hoping to spiral around to find this pandemic under control this time. But instead, we're back in our little digital boxes as the Delta variant rages in our country. On the cusp of this new year, let us say what needs to be said. So many of us are struggling to find balance professionally with our family. We are parents of young children, and we are worried about them going back to school. Or we are children of aging parents, and we are caring for ill loved ones or struggling with illness ourselves. And we have all experienced loss, so very much loss in the past 18 months. Milestones, growth, connections, farewells, all delayed or denied, or at least modified. And meanwhile, after last week, there's water in the basement and the plumbers are all busy. We feel overwhelmed and exhausted. In so many ways, friends, we wish we were in a different place tonight. We wish we could gather together in our own temple, Beth Tikvah sanctuary one day. As for me, I wish I could greet all of you in person tonight for the first time as your rabbi. If we think of this pandemic as a story of 2 steps forward and 1 step back, then we certainly find ourselves in the 1 step back. But it's difficult to feel that progress, to really zoom out and appreciate the grand scheme of things when so many people around us are getting sick and we're back to our previous precautions. We want to help. We feel that we're doing our part. Yet instead of progress, it feels like regression. As the story about the worried student reminds us, the most important thing we can do at times like these is focus on the changes that are within our control. And that starts with our own perspective. Now, you've all heard it before, Shana Tova, the famous Hebrew greeting at the new year. And it's so familiar that we seldom spare a thought for what it really means. Shana Tova, a good year. Shana is year, Tova is good. But the root of the Hebrew word for year, Shana, is not really about the calendar at all. It means, in essence, change. Lishanot is to change. Lihishtanot, to be changed. A shinui is a change. So when we wish one another Shana Tova, we're actually wishing one another a good change. How might this alter our understanding of such a commonplace greeting? If we're being honest, in our more optimistic times, this past year has brought good changes into our lives. First, the new skills and relationships we have cultivated, the ability to connect in ways with newer sophistication using technology, a renewed appreciation perhaps of relationships we might have taken for granted in the past. Because my family lives very far away, I've come to value face-to-face time in a new way in the last 18 months. I'm sure many of us have as well. Second, for the permission to confront incompleteness. The message of this time, of this holiday, is that it is okay to be works in progress. All of us here in the library look around and we see that message very viscerally. We're all works in progress. Change takes time and effort. Teshuvah doesn't only happen between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it must also take place between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. These 10 days are not our only chance to get things right. As I said at the beginning, change and progress are always within our grasp. Third, resilience and hope. These are among the greatest gifts of the Jewish people. The book of Psalms provides a blueprint for cultivating that hope. The psalmist says, Beshuv Adonai et shivat Zion, hayinu kecholmim. When God returned our exiled people from captivity, we were like dreamers, kecholmim, from exile to redemption. Facing the year ahead, we have a choice. We can give in to the cynicism of progress delayed, or we can hold on to hope. Events may lie outside our control, but the way we confront them is in our control. How, after 70 years of Babylonian exile and captivity, being violently removed from their homes, could our ancestors suddenly begin to dream again in their own language, of their own songs? It's because they must have held on to something of themselves during that time in exile. They maintained their identity. They preserved their traditions as a community. And most importantly, they held on to hope. As we drive by the Temple Beth Tikvah campus, we might feel curious or enchanted. We might feel frustrated or impatient. When I feel that way, I remind myself that sometimes this is what transformation looks like. We're in the middle of it. On any given day, it might feel like we'll never get back home. But then we see those mighty cranes. How many of you drove by and saw the crane set up this week? Those giant cranes in the sky installing these beautiful metal beams that will be this beautiful foundation for which all of this other work can take place. And all of that progress, it excites us and it inspires us. Exile, the spiritual situation of homelessness, is such a deeply felt part of the Jewish story. And we've made it through every exile as a people, large and small, by maintaining our traditions, by remembering our songs, by staying connected to one another, by holding on to hope. We are, after all, Beth Tikvah, right? The house of hope. The same, I believe, is true of this virus and this year. We rightly feel discouraged about the pace of change, especially when we have been doing our part in so many ways. But my friends, we will get through this. True, we have taken a step back, but I believe we're getting ready for our third step forward. So let's find a way to make 5782 a good year, a Shana Tova. It might not always be a happy new year, as we are accustomed to wishing one another in late December, But that also is not what Shana Tova means. No, as I said before, Shana Tova means a good year, a good change, not always a happy one. What's the difference? According to the Torah, upon creating the world, God called creation Tov, a word that means good, but also so much more than good in biblical parlance. It means something like complete, purposeful. The Torah doesn't say that God was happy about creating human beings with our many foibles and flaws. And it doesn't, by the way, say that we were happy about being created either. But here's what it does say at the end of the creation story. Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa v'hinei tov me'od. God looked at all of creation and found it tov me'od. Not just good, not just complete and purposeful, but very good, very complete, if you could say it, with great purpose. Tov, good, but not always be happy. And let's be honest, doesn't that more accurately describe our days anyhow? Happiness is fleeting, but goodness rests in the bones. The meaning of life is not to be happy, it is to be purposeful. When we serve others, when we stand up for what is decent, when we are able to improve, however modestly, our broken world, we have made a Shana Tova, a good change. So to say Shana Tova is to share a wish both more profound and more realistic than Happy New Year. Shana Tova. Who knew that two little words could convey so much? Each time we offer or receive this greeting this season, let's remember that it comes with a choice. We can cross our arms and roll our eyes at the problems all around us. And let's be honest, we may need to do that also from time to time. But then at other times, we can allow progress to just be unsatisfying for a season in pursuit of a larger goal. Because we are on this long, long journey to a good change, spiraling around the years together. Shana Tova U'Mituka. May 5782 be a good year.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you. Be acceptable to you. Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Lord, my rock and redeemer.
This has been a year of heartache and heartbreak for so many in our community. The universality of suffering in the past 18 months is palpable to all of us in some way or another. And tonight, our hearts are with all those who are in need of healing, who are in need of support, who are in need of strength as they care for and support others. And we join our voices together in song as we pray for those in need of healing. Misha Berach may be found on page 245. On this night of return, God, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. We call you Avinu, as loving parent. Forgive our wrongs and failings. Accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu, as sovereign of our souls. Help us rise from our brokenness and find a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew. Page 77. Page 78. Lift this cup for the year that is gone, for mountaintop moments and the taste of joy, celebrations shared, milestones met, all we've mastered and achieved since last we met. For wedding rings, tears, and kisses under the chuppah, new babies, first words and first steps, for the children who bless our homes and bring life to our community, for B'nai Mitzvah and confirmands, young teachers of this holy congregation, ours to cherish and guide with love. for beloved wives and husbands, sisters and brothers, for loyal friends who grow more precious with each passing year, for this community which nourishes us all, for all we've learned, for all we've struggled through, for challenges surmounted and disappointments met with courage, for last moments shared with those we loved and lost, for parents and grandparents whose memories are with us forever. We lift this cup for the year that is gone, for the year that begins. May we meet it in strength, in unity, and hope. We lift life's cup and celebrate survival. So may we sanctify each day that is ours. And we hope all of you at home will lift a cup together with Cantor as we make Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה, את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ודברך אמת, וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, ויום הזיכרון. אמן. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו וקיימנו לזמן הזה.
If you're not already standing, we invite you to do so if it's comfortable as we begin to conclude our service on page 82 with Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. מה אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
No joyful holiday, no precious celebration can annul the grief of a mourner. Hearts are still tender. We need to be held in moments of sadness. God, you might be saying, I don't feel ready for this holiday. I've dislocated in spirit and in time. Be with me as my boat drifts on these currents. Help me trust that I am not alone, that I will find my way to a familiar shore. Don't ask me, God, to pretend away my grief. Guide my loved ones to accompany me wherever my heart needs to be. And if I reach joy to my own surprise, protect me from guilt sparked by my rejoicing. Let me be present in my heart now and always as I stumble through the collision. Blessed are you who hears prayer. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 90. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei b'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'alam u'le'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'it hadar, v'it aleh, v'it halal, shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imeru, amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort in God's name to all those who are in need. Together we say, amen. Please be seated. Shana Tova, everyone. It's obviously quite different being apart and yet feeling so together in this special way. There's so many people to thank who are to credit for this experience going smoothly. And first, I would like to say thank you to my partner, Cantor Boyle. I would like to say thank you to Walter and the TBT choir, without all of whose music and leadership, the service would not have felt nearly as special. I'd like to say thank you to Kim and Bonnie in the office who are supporting everything every day from behind the scenes. To our TBT tech team that is headed up by Corey, who you can't see in the back. Thank you so much, Corey, for making us connected. Couldn't be more important job than that. Corey, Stu, Susie, Don, and Haida will be helping at various points throughout the holidays. Tomorrow we'll introduce you to Don, who will be our Zoom captain for the rest of the services. I'll share a few announcements, and if I forget anything important, I'm sure that Susie or Sarah will probably put it in the chat too. We invite you to join us for our morning service tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Zoom. The children's service will be in person only at East Wharf Beach at 2:30 in the afternoon, immediately followed by Tashlich at 3 in the same location. So if you have kids, the service is geared to children between the ages of K to 5. If you have younger kids, you can certainly come too. And we hope that you might stay for Tashlich or come to Tashlich at 3 o'clock afterwards. Our second day Rosh Hashanah service will also be at 10 a.m., also on Zoom. That's on Wednesday. And then we have a memorial service this coming Sunday at 2 p.m. at the TBT Cemetery in Clinton. And that one will also take place on Zoom. Many of you, when you came by Temple and you received your brown paper bag, you got that bag to fill up with food to help those who are in need. We certainly hope you will, and you'll mind the list of items on the front and return that with your prayer books on September 20th. Cantor, am I forgetting anything important to say?
I don't think so.
I'm sure that there are a few comments in the chat. We hope you'll say Shana Tova and tell us how you're doing in the chat. I know the Cantor and I will be eager to say hello to you all after we finish our service and conclude with a song. And so if there are no further announcements, then we'll continue with our closing song, the Shana Tova Tekatevu. May you be inscribed for a good new year. Rabbi Bachya Ibn Pekuda taught, days are like scrolls. Write on them what you wish to be remembered. Tonight, we begin again. The moon is obscured from view. The year is new. There is no way to move but forward. There is no life to live but the one we are blessed with. May blessings overflow for ourselves, our families, our community, and our world. Shana Tova U'Metuka, a sweet and healthy new year to us all.